Hello everyone, my name is BadNoBX, and today I wanted to go over how to start designing a level. I had a few people talk to me about how I actually go about starting my way of designing a level. And first I'm going to show you a level that is done, and then I'm going to go through how to design something like this. So what I've got here is an area that shows off the mechanics for climbing over this little cube right here. It teaches the player that they can climb up stuff. That'll come up later in the project. So when we come over here, we got this area right here that's kind of blocked off. This area used to be accessible. But come over here, we turn around. If the player turns right here, they still get to see something. Right there, they'll see the little button right there that's red, and that'll guide their eyes right there, and that'll tell them, okay, so maybe that's important. They'll also see the little light right there that'll tell them that they can get up there. So that emphasizes this area over here, but they can't get up there just yet. So they come in here, and they'll see multiple different things. It gives them the ability to explore a little. So if they head over here, they see the button right here. They come over and try to activate it, nothing happens. So then they'll likely start looking around. They'll see this area right here. And if you've played a lot of video games, you'll instantly see, okay, so you get right there and you use that to get over there. Cool. How do I get there? You see this door right here. It's like, okay, cool. Door's locked. All right. Well, where do I go from here? You come over and there's a little light on top of that little drawer right there. So it's like, okay, so there's something important in there. If I want to show this off, I put a wall there, put a little wall up here, and have a little gap right there. Because these boxes are left out, and they are supposed to mimic the ones over there, and you taught them earlier that they can climb up to get over this. So then when you drop in here, you see this little key over here, and boom. You look around, and you see the door. You also see this little thing right here, like, okay, what's this? You activate it, and like, okay. Oh, power's turned on. Okay. And then now that light over there, directly through this window that is meticulously placed at eye level where the player would see through, is now lit up, and it's showing, okay, so that's active now. Whoa, cool. So we come over here, we open up the door, and we go through. Because now we've got the key, so we know we can open that door. So we come over here. With the activated, the platform slides out. They already learned that they can climb up over there. So now they can come on through. And they've been told pretty much that they can jump and climb, so hopefully they'll jump across. Eventually they'll have to try and jump across, and it'll catch them. Then they'll come over here, and this should be lit up, but the material's messed up. And they'll hit this, and we've taught them everything they need to know to be able to complete the level. So yeah, they've gotten through, and they've collected the cube at the end, and boom. So this is just a simple little level that uses the mechanics to go ahead and go through. And like I said, there's a few things, if I really wanted to finish it off, that I would have to do in order to fully call it complete. So yeah, that is the baseline for this level, is to go through, learn the mechanics, learn that there's platforms that can move, power that needs to be turned on and stuff. So how would we go about designing something like this? Well, first we would start with writing down what would be called a game design document. So the reason that this is important, I've had quite a few people say that they don't understand why this is important. So the reason a game design document is important is it helps you keep track of many things, from the mechanics that you have in mind for your game, as well as making it more feasible to keep that and go all the way from start to finish, because you know what you're wanting to have as your gameplay loop. And if you're doing a story-based game, you can go from point A to point B in the end of the story until you get all the way to Z. So what we have in here is the MC for mechanics. We've got walking, climbing, jumping, and crouching. So we got walking, climbing, jumping, crouching, and those are the main things that the player can do. And so what kind of puzzles do we have? So puzzles are going to be, add a little line right there. Puzzles are going to be simple: climb over, jump across, activate power, key, locked door, key for locked door, a button, moving platforms. So this right here has given us a baseline of what is going into the project. So we need to make sure that the character can walk, jump, crouch, and climb. They can also sprint if you're wanting to be able to do that. So sprint. And then from there, we can create puzzles that match that, like climbing over stuff, jumping across, activating power, locked door, key. Like we said right here. So this is important because now we've locked down what the player can do. And so we could take that and go into the level of what we want. So with all that in mind, we can design an entire new area, and it doesn't have to go directly into Unreal. So if I take all this in mind, I know how it works, I got it all going, then now I can go through to my drawing program. So how this is set up is with this level, we have the start, we have our climbing obstacles, which are in orange, we have our power, we have our ending chest, we have our little buttons they can press, and we have the key and locked door. So with this one, all of our moving platforms have this little slot that can go in and out of the wall, so we can actually move them. So if we wanted to have them at a different location, we could. Same thing for the big one up here. So yeah, this is the baseline draw for that level right here. And it's pretty simple. It doesn't have to be anything wild, but it helps us get an idea. So if you're designing a house, it's good to look at house references. If you're designing an office, look for references of office. That'll give you some ideas and inspiration when you're building your own. So coming up with your mechanics, getting references are both really, really useful tools. And then it doesn't hurt to go in and actually draw what you're going to do. So if I wanted to start with a drawn level, I would draw an area that they're going to be starting at. So we have our little area they're going to start. And what I want to do is I want to introduce crouching right off the bat. So I want to have a little room right here that they get into, and then they have to crouch to get out of. So let's go ahead and create that little spot. And I'm going to go for maybe a little bit of a warehouse design. So there's a couple little extra hallways, and there's a big room with a giant gap that has shelves and stuff. So here's a little crouch right here, and that'll open up into the large warehouse room. So now I've drawn a big old area for it to go in. And what I can actually do to make this more unique is instead of going with a flat square, I can actually go through and design a full-blown area that just matches a bit more of a unique entail, because warehouses tend to have trucks and stuff that drive through them. So if we go through, we come here, we can create a whole area where the trucks go in at, and now we've got a unique little building design instead of just a square. So right here is where trucks come in, so I can actually come over here and type out trucks. And I can use that for an exit later on. So with this building, I know that this is a big little area right here. So I need areas that they have to be able to get through. But warehouses don't just have one set of rooms. So let's go ahead and have a little area right here. That's another room that they can go into. And this is where the power is going to be located. So we want our power right here. So blue for power. And what you're here to do is you're here to collect from a chest, which is going to be on the second floor. So how I'm going to do the second floor is I'm actually going to take this entire thing. And it's actually simple to just click and duplicate. So now we've got the second floor. And from here, I want to draw right, click, boom, and boom. So then we go right there. Boom. Now what we can do is we can duplicate this over. And this side will actually continue further down until it goes to the edge. This is where our little staircase will be. Boom. So there's our staircase that goes up. And we can signify that by a couple of lines to show that it's a staircase. And so on. The thing about it is it doesn't have to be a beautiful drawing as long as it's understandable. And one thing you can do is possibly like shrink the lines so that way we know that this is the lower area. There we go. So it kind of leads up and connects there. So this is our first floor and it goes up. This area is not accessible from down there. So what we can do is we can actually block off right here. But this part of the room would be accessible. So there are a couple things we can do with this. We can make this our area where we have a showing of how the moving platforms work if we wanted to, but I don't think that that's prevalent right now. So we don't need the key until we can get through here. So we need another spot that the moving platforms can be used. So what we could do is we can actually make a moving platform. We're going to go ahead and make those orange. So with a moving platform, we can look at getting across areas. So right here, I'm going to make it to where the player can climb up things. So actually, I'm going to use orange for the climb up because that's what I did on the other map. I'm going to make the moving platforms be a set of lines. So that way they're easy to move around and not get mixed up. We're going to make them yellow though. There we go. So this is our moving platform. So with our platform, we want our little over here to be able to climb up. And then we want it to have an area right here that it jumps across. And then right here we have an area that's another room that is accessible via going across a little bridge right here. So a lot of this stuff is on the second floor. So we can actually take this and it's as easy as sliding it over. So with our second floor set up, we can take our moving platform and slide it on over. But these three are all going to be on both floors because it reaches from the first floor up into the second floor. So it goes across and you get over to this side of the building, which leads across to our power right here. But this is also going to be where our green key is. So we put the green key and the green chest. So that's the goal. And then the key is going to be, let's go ahead with purple. So here's the key in purple. And then down here is also going to be purple, signifying that that is the door that the key goes to. So I've designed it to have a start point. So start. So here's the player start. Here's the power. We need to be able to get into the power. So we can have a unusable door right here. And that's why we leave it like that, because it's unusable. Then right here, we put a little crouching spot. So we're going to use a new color for the crouch. And that is going to be, let's go with, let's go with a tan. So there we go. So now we've got a little tan for the crouching spot. So now we've got everything in line set up. And we just need this room to be back over here. And it doesn't have any access from the second floor, so we don't have to worry about it. So we can actually delete this room because it's not accessible either. We can just drag this across. So the next thing is to just bring it into Unreal and build it. So with everything laid out, it's actually going to be much easier. So now we go directly into Unreal. We activate Unlit mode by Alt 3, or you can just drop it a directional light. That would work too. So now you go to Shift 5, Cube Grid, and I'm going to use the Cube Grid to build the level we just designed. So what I need to do first is I need to build the scale, which would be, let's set this to 5. 4 will work. So I need it to be 2 stories tall at least. So I need 16. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. And now we just need to build the shape with it. So from here, build a, that was weird. Build across. We don't need it to be massive. We're in the previs stages, so really just getting it built is the most important step of this previs. And then we can kind of worry about getting everything else working just right. Here's our little truck door. So we can actually remove a big chunk of that right there. And of course we need a floor. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag across and hit Q, then hit E. There we go. Now we got our floor. And we can actually remove the floor out here because we don't need the floor outside because it's outside. So from our truck wall, we can drag over, and this is our little area for the other wall. It goes up and boom. Now we drag over here, and this creates that wall that is connected to the rooms that the player starts in and continues from. So this is where the room connects to for the player. And it drags over all the way to about here. Then it drags across almost to the edge, about to there. And that is where the player start area is. So it drags over to the edge and boom. Now we have the player start area. We just need to connect it all in. Let's increase our speed, make it easier. Boom. So the nice thing about the area that isn't the warehouse room is it doesn't have to be as tall. So we can actually drag from much lower and kind of pull it across and create a little a closer roof. There we go. Then right here. All right, so from here, we need that little, we're supposed to be able to go into the little warehouse area from here. So we're going to go ahead and create a little spot for that. Boom. There's our little entrance, and this is where the warehouse starts. So of course we don't have any of the details in there because we don't need them just yet. We're not trying to make the finished product right off the bat. We want the thing tested, playable, and we want to make sure that our design is enjoyable rather than just looking nice. So if we go in and jump straight into the finished product, we don't know how well our game is going to run. So now let's go ahead and get that second area set up. So right here, we actually need to set up the secondary room. So there's our little entrance area. How we're going to... Okay. How we're going to do this is we need that second room right here. And we're going to go ahead and do that right here. So this room can be accessible in theory from over here, but in all practicality, it's not accessible from there. There we go. And then we would put a little door slot right here that is unusable. So we over here, we have the little spot that the player can get in through. I think it needs to be 3 for that and 4 for the player to get through. Let's test. Oh, 3 to walk through, 2 to crawl through. Got it. So now we've got our area that they could technically use to enter in there, and then our other door over here. And now if we look down from above, we see our design coming to life. So we got the trucks right there. We kind of extended the back area a fair bit more than it needs to be. So we've somewhat messed up the design. But because we're doing previs, it's very, very easy to fix. So we can just simply drag over and drag down. That gets rid of all that because we need it to be mainly a horizontal level for what we're going for. And we drag across. Here we go. So now we've got this starting area. We're going to go ahead and cut out that room. Actually, we don't have to because we actually build it out of this room right here. Boom. And right here is that path. So now we have our starting path and everything. So if we look at it from above, we can take over our little drawing. And it looks mostly similar to it. Everything will fit what we're going for. So now we need that little area up here. So we need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 right there. Drag across, drag across. So this is our second floor little area. Let's go ahead and darken our sun. Wow, that is a bright light. There we go. Let's go ahead and drag this over. That is our second floor little area. And what we need to do is we need to make it to where you can get up here from below. So we need to design it to work really well with the floor below it. So boom, boom. Right there. There's our little staircase that goes directly up to the second floor. Done. So we now drag over here, drag it all the way up to the top. Drag it up to the top. And then right here is where the room will connect to the other room. Boom. So now we've got this area right here. We can make our little bridge. And this is where it will connect to the other spot on the second floor, which will be all the way across. Not all the way across the other room, but just all the way across right there. So this is our second little area that is set up. And if we want to add a little bit extra detail, we can set little pillars of what's keeping it off the ground, because this one isn't going to have a wall. So there we go. There's our set right there, except. So now we need to build little shelves that fit for the level and for our puzzle. So right here, let's go ahead and fix that hole. Boom. So as for our little shelves that we would have here, instead of actually going through and having them, I'm going to build a small set of things that are just little squares that we can get across. So boom, 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 5, 6, 7. So we don't need it to be as large. It's a little too close. Let's put it about here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. About right. Here should do as well. A little bit thinner than 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There we go. So now we use our little platform that moves across to be able to get up there. But what we need first is the traversable cube. So with our traversable cube, which is what allows us to climb and stuff, we can set it over here. And glide it over and across. We need to put this on both of these. If we wanted to, we could turn the door. There should be enough room for a truck to get in through there. And then right here, what we have now is the little thing right here. We have a set of boxes that are designed specifically to allow the player to get up here. And down here, we'll have our little button and stuff. So if we go back here, go to power 1, show folder, unlock right here. So we need power in order to access this. So we have this right here. We don't know what it goes to, but we'll see it early on in the level. And right here, we'll have the moving platform 1. So we need to turn it around. I believe we need to turn it around. But we'll put it right here. I don't think we need. There we go. I think that's what we need. We'll figure that out in a second. But over here, we put our power down, flip it around. That is where our power will be located. It should come with a light. Where's the, oh, right, G. So now we take this, we slide it a little down, boom. So now we just need to set basic light in every single room. Little rect light in here. Set it to like 1, maybe 0.5 as a baseline light to be able to get just seeing the area. And what we can do here specifically is we can take a light right here. We can shrink everything down to be more focused on this spot right here. Increase the barn door length and the angle, lower the angle. So now we've got this area that specifically points out the light right here. There we go. And it shouldn't affect any of the other rooms. It does right there. So what we can do is we can turn it sideways and we can shrink it a bit more. There we go. So now this one little area is lit up very, very lightly. So what we can do is we can collect all this. And so the character doesn't get cast shadows on it. We can set the channel to 1, remove the 0. I already set the thing to hit it. So we're going to take both of these. We're going to set it to get affected by channel 1 as well. 0 and 1. When we need to take both these and set them to only affect channel 1. So we need to grab all of these. And set them to be affected by channel 1 as well. So now when the player comes in here, they'll see that power over there and they'll be able to go over and activate it. So in here, this will be activated from it. So what we need to do now is set up our code. Platform right there. And the power is in here. Same thing with the power. Power connects to platform right there. All right, so with all this set up, let's go ahead and test to make sure that the thing is placed in the right direction. Ah, I had it right before. Dang. So there we go. Now we've got it set up to the proper angle. What we need to do here is we need to make sure that we have this set up here as well. Because any edge that the player can go across, we want them to be able to use. There's all that. So now we've got all these areas set up and working. This gives us our baseline playability. Now we just need to set up a little door for this room that can't be used. All right, so everything's able to be seen for the most part. So over here, we just need the little unlockable door. So door unlocked. Nope, door, we need to go there. We just need the door itself. Door. All right, so let's go over here, see if we can get through this. We cannot. We also set it at the wrong spot in the first place. So right here. We go, now we step through and we can get up. So now we need one more. Except we can put the door there. Boom, there's our door. And like I said, everything can be fixed up later on. First thing is to get your testing done and set up to be playable and make sure that it's actually an enjoyable design before anything. So what we're going to do here is right there. So I need to fix the scale. And delete the top two here. What we're going to do is we're actually going to create a little window right here. I did it for the other one. I'm going to do it right here too. So this is a little area, a little work window that they'll be able to see through into the warehouse and keep track of what's going on in there. So right here, and make sure we can crouch underneath this. We can. Cool. All right, so everything is accessible. The power all works. Now we just need our chest scaled up. I know 2 is a little much, but we'll go ahead and keep that. And of course, we'll set our key there as well. So table. Key. It's a key. There we go. I know it floats, so I'm just going to leave it floating this time. So there we go. Now our entire thing should be playable from start to finish. It's not anything to write home to, but it's the baseline design that we got. And it's not meant to be a finished product. This is a video to show you what's going on. So we go in here. We're going through. We see this door right here. It's like, okay. I can't. Oh, I guess this is actually a programmed door. So that door is not supposed to be accessible, so we can't get in there. Come over here. There you go. We have a door placed that works and one that doesn't. So when the player spawns, they come in here. First thing they see is the 2 doors. The door that's closer, of course, they'll probably try first. Doesn't work. It's like, okay, what about the other door? Come over here. This door does work. So now we're introduced to the warehouse. And this is where the other mechanics come into place. Button can't activate. And the staircase over here is blocked by a door that plays a locked noise, separating it from the other one. So we see the area up there and its uniqueness. So the player would see the thing set up and hopefully feel like, okay, so maybe I can get over there. But they don't know how. So they'll keep looking around. They come over here and now they see this window and they'll see that little power box in there. It's like, okay, can I get in there? And they'll find a little area that they can crawl under eventually and get here. They'll see that they're on the other side of this door and now they can access the power. Hit it. Boom. The light turns on in the room, signifying that the power is on in the facility. That window is directly showing on that light right there. So now the button is lit up to show them, oh, so that's actually something I can do. So they come over here and they hit it, and that platform over there slides out. So like, oh, okay, so I can use that to get up. So how do I get there? They find these boxes, like, okay. So I climb up, climb over, and now I can get across. Cool. Boom. Then they come over here. They go across. They get their key so they can leave safely. Open up the chest. Grab what you broke into the place to get. Then you go down the stairs and you're home free. And then maybe you have something going on where they can't go back that way. So they take the truck exit now that the power's on and everything. So there we go. We've gone through this, and then from here, it's really just tightening down on what the design is, re-editing it if you don't find it fun. But yeah, we've gone in from nothing to having a full-fledged area that's just working. And we're doing things like guiding the player with lights over there and over here. Stack's most usable. All right, so that is how you go from nothing to an actual designed and gone through level. So I know this isn't the most highly detailed level, but it shows you the basics and ideas of coming up with a level for a project. So yeah, it's all about figuring out what mechanics are going into there and using that to kind of guide what you're having the player have to go through. That is how you use that to design your puzzles around, and that'll give you the most fun way to play the game. And the things I did, like showing this light here to guide the player, is optimizing how the flow in the game works, making sure everything is accessible in a reasonable bound. Nothing feels extremely locked off. And the one area that they can't use the key to the door to get through, it's in such a basic place that if you try this one, you go over here, you don't feel like you wasted your time by being able to go over there. So nothing's really messed up. So yeah, I hope you all enjoyed the video. I hope you learned a lot from it, and I hope this helps you understand how to get out of that rut and really get a level designed. And from here, you would just go on and finish it up, replace these with actual shelves, get the traversal stuff to connect directly to those shelves and everything, get it lit up more properly. Yeah, everything like that. But with this information, you should be able to design your own little levels and go in and actually get into the environment design a little bit later on down the road. Yeah, I hope you all enjoyed the video. I hope you learned a lot. I hope you all enjoyed the video. I hope you learned a lot. If you did, please consider hitting the like button below. If you want to see more content like this, there's plenty more on the channel. Consider subscribing and going and looking through some of the others. And other than that, I really hope you all have a good day and good luck game developing.